Andrew.
Hey Mark, welcome to San Diego.
All right, thanks for having me. It's great out here. So I heard you had a situation through your email.
Yeah, so we've been here about a year and we have this big gnarly crack along the side.
Wow, okay, look at that. All right, so poured concrete retaining wall, which is always good. You have the stucco veneer on top of that, which gives you a little aesthetic value to it. But these cracks, sometimes, I don't want to call them typical, but they happen. Settlement is a big issue. If we were in a colder climate, we get the freeze thaw, which isn't going to be the situation out here. But the other thing is landscape, trees, and mostly the tree roots. So we got a pretty big palm tree right here. Big trees mean big roots, which would lead to this crack that we have right here. So I'm assuming you want to keep the tree.
Yeah, we want to keep those.
Right, right. In a perfect world, we would take it out and eliminate the cause of this problem altogether, but that's not very practical in this situation, so I think we're just going to fix the crack.
Killer, let's get
All right,
started.
let's go. All right, so what we've decided to use to fix the crack is what we call a Type S mortar.
Why not use concrete to fix a concrete wall?
Great question. You would think that the compatibility between concrete and concrete would be great, right? But the concrete has aggregate in it, and that's going to be way too big to get into those cracks. So that's why we're going to stick with the Type S mortar. Type S mortar has Portland cement, which gives it its strength, and it's got the lime in there, which is also going to give us a little movement. Don't forget, we haven't taken care of the cause. So the cause is going to continue, and it's going to keep applying pressure onto the wall, you know, so 5-10 years down the road, you may see this crack again. If you do, not too bad, because you're going to know how to fix it.
Very cool.
Yep, so let's get going.
Let's do it.
All right. So Andrew, why don't you just get started digging out the back side of the wall. That way we'll see the entire crack that we need to fill. Be careful around that irrigation line. You may just want to switch to a smaller tool like that digging spade. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is mark out this crack so we can expand it. So just make sure when you're cutting, you cut to that edge. That'll widen that crack, and that way we'll be able to fit the material in a sizable amount, which is going to give it its strengths. But when you use the chisel, see that? That's the cut edge. So just drive it into your mark, let the hammer do the work, and then once you've established a mark, go nuts with the hammer. Yep, don't be afraid of it.
So why are we making this crack bigger?
Well, you can see that it's about 1/4 of an inch right now. If we put 1/4 of an inch in material, it's not going to be as strong as, say, what we've opened it up to, 1/2 inch or more. All right, that's it. Don't be afraid of it. Get as deep as you can. Yep, that's it. Nice. That's it. Clean it out as you go. We're using a cold chisel because it's a piece of forged steel, which is actually stronger than the concrete mix. So every time you hit that, especially in that V with that cutting edge, that's going to snap the concrete exactly where we want.
Should I go after this high spot here?
Definitely go after that high spot. You can see how it kind of jumps into our work. If you take that out, you're going to allow for the material to flow all the way down to the bottom of the crack. Yep, wiggle that out. So don't be afraid to take, you know, more out if it comes. I want to keep cleaning as I go, just because I don't want anything to impede the flow of our new material going down to the bottom of the crack. All right, Andrew, nice. Look at how clean we are through there. And now we want to clean out the crack using the hose. I want to mix this mortar a little wetter than usual because we're going to start at the top and try to let it run down all the way to the bottom of the crack. Now that the mortar's ready to go, you're going to get a margin trowel and you're going to start at the top and dump it in. As it comes down, I'm going to use my tuck pointer and I'm going to force it into the bottom and into the sides. Okay, so you see the finished trowel on the back side?
Yep.
That's actually acting as a form. So the more pressure I apply as I'm pushing in, it's going to be backed up by this trowel. That way it won't flow out. All right, what do we have left, Andrew?
Half a scoop left.
Half a scoop, I'll take it right here. All right, so let's take a look at this wall. As you can see, this is the same that we have out on the retaining wall, and this is what we want to mimic. So most people think that stucco is a material. It's really not, it's a technique. So what we want to do is try to mimic this as close as possible. So when they were doing this, I think what they did was put the wire lath on first. That grabs the stucco so it's going to stay on the wall. But what they did is they kind of stepped back, randomly threw it onto the wall, and they either took a big screed or a big trowel, but they took something and dragged it all the way down. And that's why we have flat indentations. Flat indentations, it rotates. That look is great for a mass like this, a big wall like this, but we're doing a patch, so we're gonna have to try to figure it out on our own, basically using the same techniques, but on a smaller scale.
Great.
All right, let's give it a try. So now this is gonna be the same type S mortar that we used, it's just gonna be a little bit drier this time. So I'm just gonna scoop it up, ride it in to the crack, all the way up. So now you can see those high and the low spots that we just looked at. So now all I want to do is just try to roll this trowel, see if I can spread the new mortar side to side so it blends in. And a little bit more. I want to use some pressure so it flows into each side of the wall. All right, so now we're ready for the wet brush. And the wet brush is going to bring out the aggregate that we saw on the main wall, just like that. I'm going to let that set up for a minute. All right, so what we've done is we've let this set up for about 5 minutes, which is going to give us some great pliability. Most people would think this crack is all fixed and ready to go, but we're going to take a little bit of an artistic license and we're going to start grinding out some of the edges just so they flow into the side better. All right, Andrew, so we're all set. We've done everything we could with this crack. We matched the materials, we matched the technique, but I do have one more thing for you to do. So that mortar is not going to set up for a couple weeks, so what I need you to do is take this chip, go down to the home center, have them match that with a masonry stain. I'd paint the whole wall, and then you're going to find out that that crack goes away completely.
Great. We're super stoked. Thanks for coming out to San Diego.
All right, well, thanks for having me. Bye, Andrew.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.